Hello, listeners. This is Amorgate Radio Communications. The program is Talent Attraction and Retention Strategies. Thank you for joining us on another engaging and insightful episode. I remain your host, Titilola Ogushono. As one of the strategies to attracting top talent in an organization, today we'll be discussing how to build a strong employer brand. When you talk about an employer brand, there are basically two parts. The first is you are referring to your identity as an organization, and the second part is you are referring to your reputation as an organization. What do I mean? As your identity, you are speaking to your vision, your mission, your core values, and generally the organizational culture, the cultural practices in your organization. This stands as your identity, and this says a lot to your brand as an employer. And your reputation speaks to how others perceive or view your organization. You are looking at things, issues like your company history, the kind of leaders that you have, leadership styles. You are looking to your product, the quality of your service. Are you customer centric? How do people see you as an organization? These two parts form the basis of analyzing your brand as an employer. And interestingly, it also speaks to your workforce. People want to know how much value do you place on your team. Now, if this is what an employer brand means, it speaks a lot to the level of attraction of top talent that you are likely to get as an employer. And why do we need to even visit this as one of the strategies? Building a strong employer brand. Some revealing statistics shows the need for building a strong employer brand. Do you know that 95% of job seekers say that an employer's reputation impacts their decision whether or not to apply for a job? So it means that out of 100 candidates that are likely to apply for a job, 95% of them would base their decision to even apply in the first place on your reputation as an employer of labor. So it's one of the reasons why you have to work on your brand as an employer. In addition, 79% examine a company's mission and vision even before applying. Okay, interestingly, you're saying that you want to attract top talent. 79% of this talent would even examine your mission, your vision, your cultural practices even before making the decision to apply at all. Furthermore, 75% of candidates are more likely to apply at a company that actively manages its brand. So it's not just about your vision and mission statement alone, your reputation also. How actively do you manage your brand as an employer? It means you are likely to get 75% of top talent in your environment around the globe. 52% of employees also say that branding is critical to recruiting talent. Okay, I'll drop the last statistics for us for today. 30% of employers. In conclusion, 30% of employers opine that branding is crucial to retaining top talent. So, with these revealing statistics, we know that building a strong employer brand is crucial to attracting top talent into your organization. So let's look at the strategies, the methods, the ways, the approaches that organizations can deploy to attract top talent across the globe. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is that for an existing organization already, the first step I would advise is that you audit your brand. What do I mean? You need to be deliberate about seeking how your existing workforce and even your stakeholders perceive your brand to be. Once you're an organization already in existence, probably for a year, more than a year, 10 years, a decade, more than a decade, already people have this perception about what your brand is. So you need to seek it out deliberately. You need to put in measures. You need to carry out surveys to know what people are saying about your brand. I'm saying that this is a good starting point for you as an employer. You need to know what they are saying. What do they like about your services? What do they like about your product? What do they like about your cultural practices? What do they find about your organization that distinguishes you from other competitors in your industry? You need to find it out. And we have a lot of review sites these days where you can go to as an employer to find out what people are saying about you. Now, interestingly, I've realized that sometimes some brands are very some customers, your clients, might find your brand very appealing. That is, they love your services, they love your product, but it's also is different from what your workforce perceives to be your brand. Now, I might like a particular product a lot, doesn't mean that those working for you love your work environment. So in the short run, even if your product or services are bringing in huge returns, in the short run, in the long run, if you keep your workforce disengaged, it means that you are going to stand the risk of attracting top talent, and the kind of product or services they are going to be producing in the nearest future might not likely meet the standard, and you will lose your clientele base. I have seen people prioritize just customers, the end users of their products or services over the workforce. What I'm saying is your brand, how your workforce perceive your brand to be, is also critical. Yes, I understand the fact that your product and services is important, but the top talent that will drive innovation is also important. So the first place for you to start is to find out what do people perceive your brand to be. So when you find that out, like I said, you can go to review sites, you can churn out surveys, you could be online surveys, asking your workforce to feel what they feel about your brand. You could be going out to your stakeholders, let them feel what they perceive to your brand to be. That is a good starting point for you if you want to build a strong employer brand. It speaks volume. It shows you area to be improved upon. It shows you where you are getting it right. It will also review areas where you have competitive edge over your competitors in the same industry. Now, after you have audited your brand, what do I consider the next step? My second phase for you is that you must set clear objectives. The second phase is for you to set clear objectives. Why do I say that? You need to set very clear goals. This makes it easy for you to measure progress. If you have done your first stage very well, that is auditing your brand as it is, it gives you baselines. Where am I in terms of attracting top talent? Where am I in terms of motivating talent? Where am I in terms of producing, conducive work environment, creating a conducive work environment for my people? Where am I in terms of innovative environment that allows flexibility, growth of my people, my workforce? That is the space. So you need to set clear goals, smart goals. They must be specific, they must be measurable, they must be attainable, they must be realistic, and you must set timelines. Now, what are the examples of these goals or objectives that you can set? Well, one of them could be that you want to increase the number of top talent in your organization. Well, your other objective could be, what I want to do right now is to increase brand visibility. And it could say, how do I measure brand visibility? I want to measure it by the volume of traffic that come to my career site on a daily basis. Your goal could be to boost employee engagement. It could even be, I want to increase the level of job referrals I get. I want to increase the level of job ratings I get. When I offer, employment opportunities to top talent, I want to increase the number of offer acceptance rate that I get as an organization. Once you can set these goals, it becomes easier for you to monitor progress, because what you do not measure, you cannot grow. You cannot monitor, and when you don't monitor, you can't talk about growth at all. So it's important that you set clear goals, clear objective as an employer, so that you can know those areas that you want to grow. And again, you will be specific in terms of the figures, in terms of the metrics. Do I want to grow by 20%? Do I want to grow by 30%? What do I want to reduce? I want to reduce, turnover rate, employee turnover rate by 30% or 25%. You have to be specific and make sure it's measured. Put these metrics so you can monitor your progress, and you can see that achieving set objectives becomes clearer. You know how to achieve this specifically and strategically. Now, if you have done this, you have set these clear goals, this clear objective as an employer, what do I expect you to do next? The third strategy I expect you to do is to check your leadership. It's important. Whatever objectives that you set an organization, the quality of leadership matters. Okay, I always say that any strong employer brand begins with leadership. According to a survey by Employer Brand International, it says that leadership is one of the most critical factors in shaping a strong brand. You have a weak leader, then there's going to be a problem in your brand, no matter the strategies you employ, because you expect a leader to lead, a leader to influence, a leader to shape that brand. So you need to check all those in leadership position, not just senior level management. You want to check your middle level managers. You want to check your team heads. It's important as an organization that you go back to look at the quality of leadership that you have, that we're able to pilot this change initiative of building and a very strong employer brand. If you are just joining us, thank you so much for joining. We are discussing how to build a strong employer brand as one of the strategies to attracting top talent around the globe into your organization. So leadership, the role of leadership can never ever be overflowed. It's important that you need to analyze the quality of leaders that you have, those in leadership positions, and if there's any gap, you can actually look at into various interventions. You could be coaching your leaders, you could be training your leaders, whatever intervention that would appropriate for your organization. You need to be deliberate about it and build it. Now, what I've realized from my years of experience as an organizational development expert is that when people leave organizations, they do not actually leave organization in reality. They leave their managers. So when you want to attract top talent and you have existing talent leaving your organization, they're likely to discourage other top talent from coming in. Please, you need to check the quality of leaders that you have to ensure that they lead with culture. That was one of the episodes, one of the other programs we did last year. One of the titles of those episodes was Leading with Culture. A leader must learn. You must train them. You must grow them to lead with culture. Now, if you have done this, check out your leadership style, look at various positions, train your leaders. What is another strategy that you can deploy into enhancing, building your employer brand as an organization? I would say the first step is this. You must review your existing policies and ensure that it aligns with your core values. I will always say that the core values of organization matters a lot. So what I have also seen is that most organizations will put very beautiful core values on their website. One of the core values could be excellence, creativity, innovation. But in reality, are your existing policies, your processes, are they actually supporting your core values? It's time for you to go back to look at your core values and look at existing policies, and you ensure that they align with your core values. Or you could have one of your organization's core values as innovation. My question for you is that do you have policies that support that? Does your reward and consequences management, does it reward people that are very innovative? Do you distinguish reward for performance in your organization? If you do not do this, how do people that have consistently, turned in innovative ideas, how do they get encouraged? Now, I always say this again, your performance management framework in your organization, do you have any KPI that speaks, your key performance indicator that speaks to innovation? So if your core value is innovation, it means you cherish innovation. How do you want to create or build or maintain an innovative environment if you do not have policies that will support this? And again, I've also seen organizations sometimes that will say our core value is creativity. Now, my question to you as an employer is, does your work environment encourage creativity, or does it stifle creativity? We have organizations when people want to be innovative, they want to be creative. Even the environment, the colors in the environment, the ambience in the environment, the infrastructure in the environment must encourage creativity. It must stimulate creativity process. It must not stifle it. That's why it's important that you need to check all of these policies, your recruitment policies. Do you recruit people that are innovative, that are creative? If your core value is excellent, do you have your competency-based recruitment selection process that does not joke with that you value so much? These are things that you need to go back. So it's time to go back to your policies to see that your policies aligns with your core values. And not for some organization, there might be need to revisit your core values. Attracting top talent, you need to find out what are those core values that top talent do not joke with. What are those core values that are dear to top talent? What are those core values that are dear to a particular generation that you want to, get on board? It's important that you review your existing policies and you ensure that it aligns with these core values. Okay. Now, I will speak to another strategy, and that strategy is that you must develop effective feedback mechanism. Like I said, I am assuming that as an organization you are being existent, you have existing workforce. I expect you to create and administer employee feedback survey. You want to get feedback from your employees because studies have revealed that employees are powerful potential brand advocates. They have friends, they have contemporaries, they have family members. In fact, they even have in-laws. They have associates. And they say a lot. They talk. So, and they have informal setting. They have a lot of people on their social network. So what they say about you matter a lot. What they say about your brand means a lot. It's more than whatever campaign that you want to put out there. I always say that treat your employee right, your existing talent right, and they become free advocates for you, free adverts. Okay, so it's important that you develop effective, that's why I said effective feedback mechanism. Find out the best approach that works in your organization. You need to get feedback from them. And again, one thing I always advise is that when your workforce gives suggestions, I'm sure that you might not be able to adapt all of the suggestions, but what I expect from you as an employer is, even if you just one or two, find a way, to just accommodate their suggestion. Let them see that you are a listening employer. Let them see that you value them. Let them see that their contributions matter to you. I've worked in an organization once, and somebody suggested that we should introduce paid vacation. They wanted leave. What they were asking for was so much. The only thing I had to introduce was, okay, we'll do will do paid family vacation. They wanted a paid vacation abroad, but I knew that it was going to be huge cost, and I said, okay, if we can achieve this, then we'll do paid family vacation weekend, and it was cheaper for us. So let us just find a way, whatever suggestions they come up with, find a way to accommodate it. I'm not saying all, if just one, because the impact it's going to have on your organization, on your brand is enormous. Okay, we can't just all the time talking about the cost in terms of currency, in terms of the currency. Also look at the cost in terms of the value addition it's going to do to your brand. So it's important to develop effective feedback mechanism, get responses, let your body get to a place when they can be free and they can tell you their mind. Another thing I'm going to say is I must revisit your employer value proposition, because since this reflects everything that your organization has to offer potential employees, it's important to revisit it. If you need to revamp it, if you need to reorganize some elements of your employer value proposition, it's important that you do this. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Okay, so what's another strategy that I was speaking to is that you need to go back. It's about attraction strategy. So it's important that you have efficient hiring process in your organization. Your recruitment process must be very efficient. You must ensure that the recruitment process is fair and transparent. It's very important. Now, what I've said sometimes, somebody once asked me, are you saying that I cannot bring my family members on board because I'm afraid of what my employees would say? And the answer I've always given back to them is yes, you can bring them on board, but you must make sure that your family members go through the process. So it's important that you have an efficient recruitment process in place. You must design it. If you do not have anything in place, there must be standard recruitment process. So once your family member goes through that process, every member of your workforce will see that recruitment process as being fair. They are likely to see that because it's already a standard. So it's important, please, that you ensure that your recruitment process is fair and transparent. You want to bring family members on board, let them pass through that recruitment process. And I always say something again, because it's talking about attracting. I've seen some job listings when I was still in my very early career life, and they did not even look attractive. They look boring. And interestingly, the job might not be that boring. So I will always say, make your job listing or your job descriptions more engaging. Don't make it boring. Okay, and there are ways around it. Okay, so make your job listings or job descriptions more engaging. And when you are communicating, please communicate clearly. Communicate in a way that they understand. Don't always assume that they would understand. Make it engaging, make it clear, so that top talent would find it attractive. It's very important. You're not going to be there when they're making a decision. Something must attract them. So please, efficient hiring process includes that your recruitment process is fair and transparent, okay? And you must also make sure, like I said, that you communicate clearly, and your job descriptions, job listings, make them more engaging and not boring, okay? That's it. It's important that we do that. I will also say that another thing you need to look at is that you must optimize employer branding channels. You must optimize the employer branding channels. According to LinkedIn, the top 3 channels organizations plan to extend their employer brand are the company website, took about 69%, online professional network 61%, social media 47%. So it means that social media platforms are very important where you have this top talent always engaging. So it's important that you optimize all of these channels where you can get them. Now you could also ask that, okay, now if I have the career side, what are those ways that I can optimize in my career site. I always say that a strong employer brand must be communicated on your career site. Remember, the goal is to attract talent. You must ensure that your employer brand is compelling, is well communicated. On that career site, you must let them know your EVP, employer value proposition, why they should work for you, why you need them to be on board. You must let them know the why thing, what is the need for them to be part of your team is important. Also, another way to enhance your career site, you must ensure that the process of applying or even your application process for both your advertised or open positions are very easy. They are very mobile friendly. It must be easy. Don't make it cumbersome. Break it down. It must be user friendly. I've seen some website when people want to apply, it becomes very difficult. It's not very interactive. And remember, you're not the only one that wants to attract this top talent. So you must make sure that the application process for all your positions are very easy, they are very engaging, user-friendly. I always say that you can also include visuals. Not those 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes video, very powerful. These days, the kind of generation that we have, they do not want you to write 5 pages, becomes boring. Have you ever gotten a message on your WhatsApp and you get to a point and say, read more and read more? No, even people get tired of that, okay? So I always say that, look, you can use visuals to communicate whatever message you want to. And so a 2-3 minutes or 60-second video that briefly summarizes your vision, your mission, your core values, your core cultural practices of your organization, it's enough. That is the way. That's the way of optimizing that channel. Your career site, within 3 minutes, imagine watching a video that speaks to the vision, the mission, the core values, the EVP is compelling. Of course, you want to work with that kind of organization. And for organizations, for multinationals, because you are in various countries, because languages, we have different languages in these countries, I will ensure that language options are available. Okay, make sure they're available. Remember, the goal is to optimize it, make it more user-friendly, and because the focus is on attracting top talent, you don't want to make the process cumbersome, you don't want to make the process boring, you don't want to make the process frustrating for them. So it's important that we do this, and in even doing this, you should also be ready to define your potential talent. Okay, and that a lot of them, like I said, this generation love the visuals a lot. So making use of the visual in an most effective manner, optimizing it is very important. It's important. I hope that you understand this, and it's good. And again, in addition, what I'm going to say is that you must understand your current challenges. You should know as an organization, when you are reviewing your brand, like I said at the beginning, at this point I'm wrapping it up and saying you must understand your current challenges. When you know where do we have challenges, is it my current recruitment and retention process? You need to even know your current and future hiring needs. What I've seen with organizations sometimes is that you are looking at your current need in terms of recruitment. What about the future? What is likely to change in your space? And you understand what is happening in the IT world. For those in the IT, it's even peculiar. The rate of change, the way products are coming in, innovation, generative AI, different things are coming on board. So you're not just looking at recruitment right now. You're also looking at how do I position myself to attract top talent in the next decade. Now, because the present need of the present workforce will be different from a decade from now. So you have to be proactive. That's why you must have your pipeline, your talent pipeline, and you have to start thinking of it. And we also talk about even succession planning. These are things you need to look at as an organization. You should understand that for you to optimize your branding initiatives, your current and future hiring needs must be clearly articulated and defined by you. This is very important. So it's important that you optimize your communication channels, your current and future hiring needs, recruitment needs must be clearly articulated by you, because that's the only way you can optimize your communication channels. Okay, it's important, very important that we take note of that. Thank you so much for staying tuned to the end of this episode. I hope that you have learned one or two things. If you have learned anything that you like, kindly click the like button. Thank you so much for comments, feedback. Kindly send a mail to contact@thearmorgate.org. I'll take it again. For your questions, comments, feedback, send a mail to contact@thearmorgate.org, or you can send a message to our WhatsApp line +2348079574151 is the line. Thank you so much. I would not leave Draw the Curtain without dropping the quote from Thrivers Right, which says, no matter how often your PR team is out there sharing the gospel, or the CEO is on television, nothing is more effective than the voice of your employees. Your current employees are your best advocates. But that last line is from me. Okay, thank you so much. Hope you join us same station, same time next week. It's bye from here. I remain Titiwala Ogushono.